Wherefore I say, he who would heal the sick by anointing him with the light of all-knowing must himself have anointing of my light in him, even as the genius goeth to greater genius for inspiration, and not to his pupil. Furthermore, I command him who would extend my light to dwellers in the dark, or to unbalanced ones whose ills he would heal, that he useth not the cloak of assumed piety to aid his knowing, nor to veil his unknowing. For such show of piety suppresseth inner joyousness in man, which leadeth to the ecstasy of my kingdom of heaven. He who is made whole by finding balance in my light findeth an inner joyousness which immunizes him from toxins and destructive things which attacked fearing man. Inner joyousness is the forerunner of the ecstasy which cometh alone to the reverent, inspired ones who have found my all-knowing. The time hath come in man's unfolding, when he must henceforth rise above his sensing. He must know that he is wholly mind, and that his mind and mine are one. He must know that his body and mine are likewise one, but they existeth not. Body is but the sense tool of mind to act the will of mind. Body hath no existence, it is but motion, and motion existeth not. Senses have no existence, they are but waves of dual light. Mind desireth. Desire is the creator within mind. Desire is the soul, the will, of the being of mind. Mind thinketh. Thinking is the imaginer, which separateth the ideal of knowing mind into the appearance of many ideas, and giveth them form. Thinking is electric. My body is electric. My electric body is an ever-moving record of my ever-changing thinking. Electric thinking obeyeth the creative imaginer, and divideth imaged ideal in the light of the one being into the appearance of many imagined ideas, and giveth them imagined forms as of many beings. All forms thus electrically miraged into the appearance of existence are made in my image, for all are imaged by my thinking. All creating forms are but spectrum waves of the dual light of my electric thinking. Forms are illusions, produced by the motion of light waves. Light wave springeth from imagined extension of my thinking. Waves of the dual light of my thinking are not my light, nor are they me. They extendeth from me to manifest my knowing and my power, as the level extendeth from the fulcrum to manifest the power which is in the fulcrum. But the lever is not the fulcrum, nor is the dual light of electric thinking me. Electric waves of motion, which are my body, are electrically sensed with an awareness of each other. Senses are wave mirrors, which reflect their ever-changing condition to every other wave in my whole universal body and all of its extensions. Each wave of each man's body is electrically sensed with an awareness of every other wave in man's body. Senses are mirrors which intercommunicate with each other by reflecting their light into and through each other. Thus are all of my creations reflections of me and of each other. Man calleth the reflected interchange between the senses an electric current. Mankind hath mistaken the sensing of bodies for thinking, and even for knowing. Bodies know not, nor can they think. Bodies can but be aware of motion and of condition, for they are but varied conditions of motion. The senses, being electric, cannot react to aught but motion. Senses cannot react to stillness or balance which is in me. They react to unbalance alone. The consciousness of man telleth him if he standeth in balance, but the senses telleth him not until he loseth his balance. Likewise man's senses telleth his senses if he hungereth, or is in discomfort, or in pain, but they are as though they were not when man restoreth balance from these unbalanced conditions. For long ages man hath thought of his body as his self, his being. Likewise he hath thought of the interchange between the senses of his body as thoughts of his knowing. He hath thought of himself as borning, living, and dying in my changing thought universe of image, time, and space, not knowing that his body alone borneth, ageth, and dieth. He still thinketh of himself as one of many disunited beings, each one separate and apart from each other and from all beings. Likewise he confuseth senses of body with consciousness of mind. He thinketh of his mind as his own, disunited from all other minds, a separate thing apart. Man's ages of dependence upon his senses must be replaced by dependence upon his mind and mine. He seeth and feeleth his body, not knowing that his body is also mine. He relieth upon it as reality. Henceforth he must know that reality is his mind and mine, which he can in no wise see or feel. Man's early eons of living for sensing alone, with but little thinking and lesser knowing, bred fear, selfishness, and greed in his body. Body needs alone bred these qualities, for mind hath them not. Man's struggle for survival of his body likewise bred sensations and emotions, which alone are of the body, not of mind, nor even of the thinking of mind. When man hungereth, it is man's body which hungereth, not man. His senses telleth his entire body that it hungereth. Likewise his senses telleth his senses of pain, or heat, or cold, or dangers which he meeteth with courage or fear or other reactions of the senses. From body desires for possession springeth craftiness, cunning, fairness, generosity, cheating, cruelty, ingenuity, and divers other pairs of opposed unbalanced qualities, which affect his thinking. Likewise desire for companionship and divers human relations giveth rise to countless other reactions of the senses, which toucheth the spirit of man to uplift him, or touches the senses alone to degrade him in the measure of his thinking. For verily man maketh his body in the image of his thinking when he thinketh alone. When he thinketh my knowing with me, then is his image also mine. Man likewise maketh his own ills in his own unbalanced image when thinking alone without me. For all ills are unbalanced things, and unbalance is not in me. When thinking my knowing with me, he findeth balance in me to void the pairs of opposites of his unbalanced thinking, and is made whole by finding rest in me. He who would be made whole, or who would heal others, must himself think my knowing with me. My balance must be in him ere he extendeth its rest to others. He must know that pairs of opposed sensations and emotions are unbalanced conditions, from which his good health or his ills springeth in the patterns of his thinking. At his will he may void them both in the oneness from which both sprang. All ideal of my